if I may, question with respects to screens related to certain assets as assets go into a blind trust. These are decisions, of course, of the Ethics Commissioner. So, as you know, as you may recall, my assets have been put into a blind trust well in advance of the requirements, so they've been disposed. But what happens is that there's a discussion with the Ethics Commissioner for certain screens around certain issues, and that's a process that is underway. It's a natural process, and of course, it's part of the way our system works, and I very much respect the system. And those screens become public as they're developed. I'm working as fast as I can. Recall that, and I didn't set these rules. They were set by a government of which Mr. Poilievre was a member. That the time horizon is measured in months. I'm working in. I worked in advance, actually, of becoming Prime Minister in terms of the disposals, and in the matter of days and weeks in terms of having these screens.
Next question.
All right, Rob Gillies from Associated Press. You will have a call with President Trump in the coming days. What are your expectations for the President in that call?
I think, let me say a few things. The first is that the President of the United States, the Prime Minister of Canada, but certainly the President of the United States has many responsibilities, and there are many issues. I can think of many geostrategic issues that the President is helping to lead on, and you can think of events most recently in with respect to the Houthis and all the way through to trade and other aspects. So there's a wide range of issues to be discussed when we do connect. With respect to trade, I look forward to, at the appropriate time, having a discussion as two sovereign nations that is comprehensive, not targeted at one issue.
Putin and Trump had a 90-minute call at least today. Are you comfortable with that?
Well, I mean, maybe I'll refer back to my previous answer, which is that there are a range of issues, and one of the issues that I discussed both with President Macron yesterday, Prime Minister Starmer last evening, discussed on the weekend with a series of leaders, is how to get Russia to be an active and willing participant in a ceasefire in Ukraine. So anything that the President can do to make that happen, and he's committed to make that happen, anything he can do to make that happen that respects the territorial integrity of Ukraine, that meets a series of other conditions that have rightly been set out by the government of Ukraine, I fully support.
We'll do last question, dernière question.
Prime Minister, hello. Martina Stevis-Gridneff for the New York Times.
Welcome.
Wow, to you too, sir.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you very much. My question is a little broader, pertains to my colleague's question. Your predecessor shared his assessment with the Canadian people and the world that President Trump's goals and motives in Canada were to economically crush the country in order to annex it. I know you've only been in power for a few days, but I'm sure you've had briefings and meetings. And I wonder, ahead of this phone call with President Trump, do you share Prime Minister Trudeau's assessment, or have you made your own personal assessment about what President Trump really wants from Canada?
Well, I think first and foremost, I think what President Trump wants, he wants several things. One is he wants to end the fentanyl crisis in the United States. I respect that. He wants good, high-paying jobs in America. He wants more investment in America. He wants repatriation of many American industries and firms to the United States. So, and I fully respect that. I think he will respect that as Prime Minister of Canada, I want to end the fentanyl crisis in Canada. I want to grow good, high-paying jobs in Canada. And of course, I want to protect with my colleagues and reaffirm and reinforce our sovereignty of all of Canada. So that's the starting point for the discussion.
Just listening closely to your answer,
Peut-être la dernière question et je peux faire un résumé. Oui.
Just listening closely to your answer previously, it sounded like you may be changing, and listening to what you said last night about the limits of retaliatory tariffs, for example. It sounds like maybe you are nuancing your strategy vis-a-vis President Trump by perhaps leaving trade talks to others. We know you have authorized these conversations to happen in Washington, D.C. as early as this week at USTR level. Are you going to be trying to focus more on positive things that you can talk about with President Trump?
I wouldn't necessarily have that characterization. What I'm saying is severalfold. The first, and I'll go back to where you started with your previous question, which is we are focused on building this economy. Today's announcement is, of course, about sovereignty, it's about protection, but it's also about building the economy here in Nunavut. We are going to build Canada. Canada is strong, and it's going to get stronger. We can give ourselves more than anything that President Trump or other trade partner can take away. Okay? That's a basic point. And that if there is a misconception of that in the United States, I'm not saying the President has that misconception, but if there's a misconception of that, we are going to disabuse that misconception. We're going to grow this economy because that's good for Canadians, better for our future, and we can do it, and we're going to do it. In terms of discussions, what I'm saying is that there are a series of trade initiatives from the U.S. Such that they've called into question the validity of USMCA, since you're New York Times, how you would refer to it, USMCA. And that means that we should have a broader conversation about our commercial relationship, which also involves a conversation about our security relationship with the United States. So I'm less interested in reacting to every initiative putting on the table that we want to have that broader conversation. It won't happen overnight. There's no magic one meeting that is going to unlock things. And of course, we have regular conversations with the U.S. on a variety of issues, but the big issues around trade are going to need to be taken more comprehensively, and they will be taken from a Canadian perspective, from a position of strength.